Friend of the show, Frank the Crank, the pride of Saipan. How are you doing, mate?
Very good, very, very good. Thanks, Kev, for having me again, bro.
No worries, no worries. Obviously, we're broadcasting from Casa del Frank.
We're not like the last time when there was a shitload of wind, Like we're
Uh,
good, we're
that was
good.
that's great, mate. The piano there. Are you a musician, mate? Is that on your end or the wifey?
No, just a wifey, dude. So yeah, so it's actually kind of cool. Like I'll just be doing work here,
Yeah,
and then she'll be kind of like she'll be getting back into playing. Dude, she can freaking jam on the
you're right.
piano.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll add that to one of my vlogs when I have like one of my vlogs come out. But yeah, so she'll be that, and then the kids would be like on the couch
Yep.
on this little like sofa right here, climbing
Yep.
in and jumping in. So yeah, that's how we kind of end the night.
Yeah, nice one, nice one. Any tunes that you guys specifically end up towards, or is just whatever's happening?
Say it one more time.
So, any specific tunes that you guys play, or is it just whatever's happening?
No man, she's like just really she's like all into like man, I don't even know the names, bro. Like all that classical Mozart kind of stuff, dude.
Yep.
Like Claire de Lune. Like I'm like, yo, I'm learning about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, nice one, awesome, mate. I'll tell you an interesting one. I saw the Instagram post that you put about your mom shaving your dad's hair, and it gave me a little bit of a
Oh
chuckle
yeah.
because I've recently undergone the same thing over here.
You got the quarantine haircut like me, bro.
Oh, mate, I love it. Look at that. I
You
think
know,
that
that's one thing that I totally didn't even realize
yeah,
that that all haircut places are, all barbers are closed.
yeah,
Like man, that leaves a lot of people. Dude, my wife, she had to go on YouTube like those DIY like how to cut her hair, and it
yeah.
was actually pretty dope.
Yeah, it's interesting. So in Australia over here, we still have them open, but there's obviously the social distancing rule. So you literally have to stay outside and wait. And I was having none of that. And there's something very liberating. Every year I do shave my head, but not all the way bald. There's something very liberating about waking up and not having to worry about all that nonsense. So I'm like, if you're ever gonna do it, now is the time.
Welcome to my life, bro.
Sounds good, mate. Look, obviously, since we last had a chat, the world's completely a different place. In early March, you were in California training, for your next fight, and then all this COVID stuff starts hitting the fan, and then voila, you're back at home. Tell us how this happened and how did this all manifest itself out?
Yeah, so I was out. Oh, so the last time we talked or we spoke, right? I was getting ready to go to California.
Sure.
No idea yet of who I was fighting.
Yep.
Kind of had an idea that I would be fighting around that time frame. Was either UFC Portland or I don't even know, was that a Columbus card that I was supposed to fight
I
on?
believe so. Yeah, Lincoln.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, and we didn't know it was more. We're more leaning toward the UFC Portland card. I got out there. Christos Giagos got injured.
Yep.
We're managed by the same guy, Jason House and Iridium Sports. And as soon as we found out, I spoke to my coach, to Coach Oyama and Jason House, and I was like, "Yo, man, dude, throw me in, bro, throw me in, come on, you
Right.
know." So we got that fight and we locked that in. Yeah, and then it just, Corona was still going on, and then it just spread like wildfire, like in like a week.
Yep.
It just went boom everywhere, and things just started getting weird in California. People were buying all the toilet paper and shit.
Yep.
And then, then it just started getting even like kind of a little scary, like Guam started having their like instances of coronavirus, like patients and when I was out there, United just cut all like 30% of all their international flights, So I was getting worried. I was like, yo, last thing I want to be is stuck here in the fighter house,
Yep.
Away from my family with all events canceled. You know what I mean?
Yep.
My wife and I were talking, and we were saying how, man, let's stick this out. Let's just stay posted and just get ready to mobilize. You know what I mean? If anything, but man, let's stick to the plan and let's get this fight going. Then the gym was forced to close. Everything was forced to close. A lot of non-essentials were forced to close. Where I booked my ticket,
Yep.
packed my bags, and left the next day back home. And even at that, the travel here was freaking crazy. I had to fly through I didn't go through. I didn't want to go through like Japan or
Yep.
Asia, so I
Yep.
went through Hawaii, and even at that, it was just so eerie, man. Like traveling at that time was so weird. Like
Mm.
one person would cough from afar, and everyone would be
And
like,
everyone's like looking.
"Yeah,
Yes.
it was wild, dude. It was wild."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then it was cool because right when I got home, that's when it kind of like started to just even get a
Escalating.
little more
Yep.
serious.
Yep.
Started to escalate, yeah. And
Yep.
so glad that we made the decision then. Just sucks, man, for everyone, you know. Man, it sucks
Yep.
for me, sucks for you, sucks for the UFC, sucks for people that are affected by Corona. You know, like I heard Rose Namajunas had family members pass
Yeah.
from the virus. You know, so you know we're all suffering, right? But you know, a lot like some more than others. So it's just kind of just such a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, no one anticipated something like this to happen, and like first and foremost is the health of people, right? Anything that
Yeah.
causes people to die at this rate is that. But like beyond that, you have the economies crumbling, people losing their jobs. Yeah, it's a very very scary time, like a very interesting time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how? Yeah, go
Yeah.
on.
So even at that. So when I got home, you know, I still was very optimistic and was I mean training. I'm always trying to stay active, right? But I was working out and training with the intent of the fight with Alan Patrick still happening, you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
because and then you know all the other fights were being postponed, but Dana was just adamant about the Tony fight, you know, the
Yep.
Tony Khabib fight, and
249.
then
Yep.
and then that started crumbling, and then when they got the call from ESPN and Disney, then it was just that kind of put the stamp on it, like okay, shit, just kind of got real. Let me just eat some freaking ice cream and drink some beer.
So at the moment, fair to say that you still are keeping in shape, but just maybe a little bit more lax than it would be if it was all systems go, obviously.
Yeah. Actually, man, I'm starting to pick it up. Like I did a hard circuit yesterday because I was talking to my manager, and I feel like this is a perfect opportunity to jump back in. You know what I mean? Because I know for a fact that the UFC they have a certain amount of contractual fights that they have
They
to
need
go
to
with
do.
ESPN.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Otherwise, they're not going to get their funding, right?
Correct.
I think it's like
Yep.
700 plus million or
Yep.
some shit like that.
Yep.
So
They'll need to crank it literally as soon as
yeah,
they get out.
yeah. Man, so from what we're hearing, they're going to be throwing shows Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
Or even more. And I think that would be what an opportunity for us to take fights. So like now I'm kind of like going on Instagram searching like who can I fight? Like I could probably take some short notice fights at 170. Against guys that are not so big, that are 55ers, but don't really want to cut weight or whatever. I don't know. So just keep them optional. It's I'm like finding excitement, and I'm kind of getting excited during this time.
Yeah, right. So that process that you just talked about in terms of looking at people in a slightly higher weight classes, in a normal situation, would you actually even engage in that, or is it just because of what's happening now?
More so just what's happening now.
Yeah.
And more so because I see that there's an opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm still able, because from what they're saying, they're going to be throwing it at the apex. I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen next month, right?
You don't.
But just staying ready, like I'm going to be in an opportunity to be able to make it out there and to fight. So that's good versus a lot of international fighters. Someone from the UK or from Brazil or from more parts of Asia. So like this is like an opportunity for me.
Yep, absolutely. So quarantine. What does a day in the life of quarantine look like, and what are you doing? Like I've obviously seen some interesting training methods that you're using that you'd only do when you're stuck in an island. And what are you doing? I guess in addition to physically, mentally, like how are you keeping that sharp?
Yeah, so if you follow me on Instagram at Frank the Crank or my YouTube channel,
Yep.
just Frank the Crank. I don't even FB Camacho. I don't even know my YouTube channel, but yeah, if you just follow me online,
Yep.
you'll see like well, first off, I'm a huge Rocky fan. My
Yep.
second son's name's Rocky.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, and I feel like this is like Rocky Four. I feel like I'm Rocky Four, just training for Drago, like just straight outside barn style, lifting rocks, lifting wheelbarrows, running wheelbarrows. And
Yeah.
if anything though, like aside from all of that being fun and just kind of feel like I feel like a madman.
Yeah.
It's cool because like I'm really, I said this in a couple of interviews before, is that I'm really working on the internal versus the external.
Yep.
Um,
What do you mean by that?
I uh, camp the past few years has just been very kind of like very monotonous. Very just I go there and I drill, I do what coach says, and then I go home and then I relax because I'm fucking beat, and then I go back to class again at night. I do my strength condition, whatever, right?
Yep.
But now it's like I feel like I'm back to how it was when I first started, going on YouTube, going online, watching fights, taking notes on fights, wondering why so and so is doing this, texting my coach, bothering his ass at night, like, coach, why is so I'm this huge Marat Grigorian. You know who Marat Grigorian is?
No.
He's a lightweight champ in Glory.
Yep. Okay.
Monster, dude. I think he's lightweight champion. Yeah, but monster. So he's a very good pressure style, good cardio, and kind of like I'm like, oh, I want to fight like that guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and very physical, very strong. So I'm just texting coach, hey coach, what do you think about this? What is he doing here? What is he doing that? So like I'm like falling in love with this part of training again. Like I'm
Yep.
forced to do this. Like I'm catching myself. During camp, I'm trying to play games after training sessions. I'm like fucking beat, But now I'm like watching fights and just taking notes on how different things that I could do on the bike right outside.
Yeah.
So it's good, and it's forcing me to get creative with my workouts and with my training and with my whatever. I'm messaging teammates online. Like, hey man, how did you? Oh, this is a sick workout. Like, are there any variation? So it's cool. It's different. Maybe that's what's so exciting about it. And also too, like I like to look at the cup half full. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a way for me to just practice something that I haven't really practiced or worked on before.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. How are you engaging with different sort of hobbies? Like, you obviously are deep into photography. Is that playing a part as well?
I've always been. I love taking photos. I love shooting video. My wife's a filmmaker, so she's the one that kind of like, she puts it all together. She's a storyteller.
Yeah.
If anything, what I've been doing is doing a lot of stuff outside, but carpentry. Like, so before the full on lockdown, I hit up my friend. I hit up my cousin.
Yeah.
He works for a company that has a lot of like pallets. So I rolled up with a freaking trailer and I grabbed a bunch, and I'm like just making like benches and whatever. I freaking suck, but that's a whole nother skill, dude.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother skill.
Yeah, nice one. You got to do different things to keep the mind at bay, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm like carpentry, play with the boys, yard work, train, eat. So I'm trying to stay away from the refrigerator as much as I can.
Yeah. I found that I've actually started eating better while being at home, like, because you're forced to cook everything, right?
Dude, so check this out.
Yeah.
So my son just had he just turned 4, and he just had his 4-year-old like physical checkup or whatever, right? So I went and I was talking to the pediatrician. Is that what the kid doctors are called?
Yep.
Yeah. So I was talking I talked to the doctor, and I was like, yeah, doc, sometimes, I was just making a joke. I was like, yeah, man, how are you doing, dude? Like, are you making more trips to the refrigerator, when you're at home?
Yeah.
And he said that, actually, what's kind of funny is that, there's 3 kids that have been telling their parents that they have to start losing weight because they're just super overweight.
Yeah.
They've all come home. They've all got checked up, and they're all losing weight.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I was like, interesting, yeah, because they're eating more wholesome foods. They're eating home cooked foods, and they're not eating like processed fast food. So it's kind of cool. I was like, whoa.
Yep.
And they're probably outside playing more.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. I think it's interesting. I've seen. I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he was chatting with Brendan, and they were saying that how it's obviously terrible what's happening, but it's brought a new appreciation for little things such as going for a walk and exercising. You see people going out to just want to do stuff like that, which you didn't necessarily see that appreciation before.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like how it makes you kind of question how we've evolved to the type of lifestyle that we're all kind of pursuing. Like the hustle and bustle rat race.
Yep.
Versus now we're kind of forced to kind of stay and really enjoy kind of life. I mean, yeah, people, like we're a lot of people are suffering. Furloughed, no jobs. Can't buy food, but I mean, it's just trying to find the positives in there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Mentally, you kind of got to be tough. And at the end of the day, like if you have a job, if you have good prospects, you have a healthy family, that's it. Like everything else is a plus. Yeah, absolutely. So, mate, let's assume that the fight with Alan is going. Obviously, we don't know the time. Interesting character. Like you've obviously done a fair amount of research for him now. Tall, lanky. A lot of his fights seems to go to the decision. He's got that capoeira background, so that those fancy hips. What are your thoughts on him as a fighter, and how do you think you match up with him?
So first off, when I saw that Christos got injured, right?
Yeah.
I was like, dude, let's take this fight. I asked Coach, what he thought. He's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I was watching his fights, and I was like, yo, this guy is a freak, bro. This guy's doing backflips at the weigh-ins. Like this guy is super athletic. Like he's a wild man.
Yeah.
He's a wild man. But I was talking to Coach. And he was just saying like, yo, just stick to your game, make him fight your pace and fight your game, and just stay in his face. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, just keep the pressure, and then of course we had techniques to approach it, but it was kind of like, yo, this is gonna be fun. You know what I mean? Like, like he's gonna come guns blazing.
Yeah.
And whether. And I'm gonna bring the fight to him. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be kind of one of those things.
Yep. So I think, he has a strong record. He's been in the UFC for a while, but I think due to injuries, he hasn't been as active as he'd probably like to be. But the Holtzman fight, obviously, is a good template there in terms of forward pressure, chopping 100%. The legs. Yeah. Chopping 100%. The legs. Yeah.
So yeah, the Holtzman fight was a perfect. I'm sure he's going to make adjustments, right? But I mean, but yeah, like that was the template. You know what I mean? Holtzman is very strong, very physical, so like Holtzman probably does a lot of different things, and he does it better than I do, but I feel like I do a lot of other things better than Holtzman too, so that's kind of like where the interesting part of the game kind of happens, It's just kind of like I was just thinking like, yo man, okay, just don't fuck up Frank in the first 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be so dangerous in the first 2 minutes, the first half of the round. But just high guard, just keep my guard up. And just don't get freaking head kicked.
Yeah, with guys like that, you just don't know what's happening, right?
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, when you explained the opportunity, how you leapt on your manager and said, "Put me in, coach, put me in," did you actually research Patrick a little bit, or was it just like there's an opportunity, now is the time to strike kind of vibes?
Yeah, kind of like and more so opportunity, what do you think, coach? What do you think, Jason? Yeah. And then it was kind of like, yeah, let's do it. And then then I'll start pouring effort into watching a guy, But I've seen him before, but I just know he hasn't fought in so long. I think that's why.
Yep. So his last fight was in the Khabib and Conor card, right?
Yes, but prior to that, it was a while. I know he fought similar guys. He fought Damir Hadzovic, who is someone that I really want to fight.
Yep.
Damir Hadzovic. He also fought Damon Brown.
Yep. He fought.
yeah, so it was a good matchup, I think. And an opportunity to beat a guy with a really good record.
Yep, yep. How important do you think? Well, obviously records do matter in that, but you're only as good as your last fight, right? Like to a degree, like recency bias has an important there. Do you think that like a couple of wins, granted the lightweight division is stacked, will hold you in better stead?
Say it one more time.
Do you feel like a couple of wins is enough to get strong momentum in this stacked sort of weight card? Like, how hard is momentum in the UFC?
Yeah, I think it's and just on that W on the W side, like man, like looking at the guys that I fought, it's kind of cool. Like for me, like personally, it's kind of cool. Like the guys that I fought, like um, I mean, everyone in the UFC, they're not no one's chumps. You know what I mean? But like it's kind of cool. It's nice to see like the matchups that the UFC has me fighting.
Yeah.
Although my last performance with Benil White kind of freaking sucked on my end, but it was something that I needed so that I could move on to my next fights. But man, a couple wins, and more so my thing, man, is man, to get these stoppages. Like I don't like fucking going 3 rounds. But and I'm totally capable of stopping guys. And maybe it's like like we spoke about before. It's like my greatest strength, but it's also early on in my career, but it could probably be my greatest weakness. So that's something that we've been working on, and I just can't wait to stop guys and just climb the ranks. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yesterday, mate, I was watching a bit of some old Ultimate Fighter clips, and I went back to Carwin and Nelson and saw the babyface Frank days there, and the starry eyes into the camera. Not much has changed, mate. You still got the looks. Neil Magny as your first fight. Imagine that one there. Like it's just full circle. Do you ever like pinch yourself and allow yourself to reminisce back on those sort of days in terms of the journey, or does that even not even come to play?
Actually, I'm gonna go back after this interview and watch the Neil Magny fight. Dude, so. And after the Neil Magny fight, I got super depressed, bro. Like I was like, fuck, I fucked up. This was my opportunity to get into the UFC. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. Yeah. Went through a whole spill there, but and then I because dude, that fight was just wild, bro. Because first time in fighting, I think it was at the Mandalay Bay. Yeah, it was filmed in the Mandalay Bay. Yep. I was walking, like, oh shit, oh, dude, this is where Tito Ortiz fought. This is the place.
Yep.
And then I just remember I was like, I saw Carwin and I saw Big Country and I saw Dana on the side, and I was like, yo, man, I'm gonna show these guys what's up, man. Yeah, I'm a small welterweight, whatever. I don't care, dude. I'm gonna freaking show these guys what's up. I ran off the bat, threw a big left hook. Freaking, I think I broke my hand on that left hook. I hit him on the top of the head.
Yep.
And I started pounding him. I took him down, and then I ended up mounting him. I had my head and arm choke. Yep. It was there. And I let it go, dude, because I was like, I'm going to show these guys. And I started pounding. So if you watch this fight, I got to do like a video commentary on it.
Yeah.
He turns over. Yep. Rear naked choke was there. Yeah. I let go, and I was like, F this, dude. I'm going to show. I want him to get a stoppage. I want him to be exciting. It's the Ultimate Fighter, dude. It's Peter Craig's first debut,
Yeah.
And then Neil Magny, being the freaking tough freaking mofo that he is, he did what he did to Hector Lombard. He did what he did to Kevin Gastelum. He did that to me.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting down in the second after the first round. I was like, oh yeah, I got this guy. I just need one more round of this, and then because you fight twice, and then 2 rounds, and then you win 2 rounds, and you get it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I just sat down in the first round. I was like, oh my god, I can't fucking feel my arms. Adrenaline dump.
Yep.
So then I just took my ass whooping in the second round and the third round. But
Yep.
yeah, so like coming to see his climb, I was like, oh shit, okay, like okay. I mean, I could have, could have, would have, should have done all these things, but man, right on, dude. He was no chump. He's a dude. Fuck, and then his last performance was crazy.
Yep. That was a very impressive comeback fight.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's amazing how things ripple, but yeah, I think you fought a very fairly stacked card in terms of the individuals you fought, so it's definitely a good test.
Yeah.
So,
And then like my UFC debut, like on 10 days notice
yeah,
against the Leech, man, that was a good fight.
yeah,
Like that was a fun fight.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, mate, speaking to the COVID stuff, so you're obviously a dad. You've got a family with young kids. Obviously, like there's a lot of people fall into two camps in that there's admiration in terms of what Dana White's doing. I personally wanted, like, the individual in me, the fight fan, wants to see fights, but what do you feel personally about like the stance of the UFC trying to have events in a era of a pandemic, given that like most of the major sports organizations are holding firm? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I think I think the UFC, Dana, and they're not dumb. Like
Yeah.
I was in total support. I mean, I was getting messages too about, hey, just think about taking fights, and because it might be a bad on your image or whatever. But at the same time, I was just making sure, for me, safety is key, right?
Yes.
Safety is key. The UFC is very, very, the type of sport that we're in is very different compared to the NBA or the Olympics.
Yeah.
The Olympics, you need a lot of people to come. The NBA, you need a lot of people to participate, not even just to play the game, like everyone a part of it, and then they make their money, to officiate it, and then also you need the crowd to support.
Yep.
The UFC, man, you just need a referee, and 2 guys, 3 guys.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I was sure that the testing was going to be on point. All the protocols were going to be on point. There's going to be no crowd, and I was all in for it. And as long as everyone was, taking the proper precautions. If anything, I just wanted to see how UFC 249 was going to turn out.
Yep.
Then it was going to be like, okay, dude, let's do it.
Yep. It would set basically the template of what things would look like moving forward.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like we're in a very good situation with the type of sport that we have, right?
Yep.
That we can do these kind of things.
Yep. So the UFC Fight Island, mate. Do you know where it is? Is it in Guam? Like,
I know you see that post of me climbing a coconut tree, and I was like, I think I see the Fight Island right there.
Instagram and like the whole social media having a town day on that one. It just doesn't seem real. Like the thought of fighting in an island.
That would be kind of cool. I mean, I really don't know how or what or how are they doing it, but man, I wish I knew where it was.
Yeah. What's the communication like? Obviously, in UFC 249, they had like the issues that the Khabib had. Seemed like a bit of a communication breakdown there, but obviously the world was shifting so quickly. Like, you can't really blame any one sort of person in that particular example. But is the UFC quite formal in its communication, or at the moment is it quite a lot of hearsay, shearsay? Like, you don't know necessarily what's happening until it does.
We're kind of like if anything, a lot of the information that I get is from Reddit,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
and of course, and then if I have like any questions, I go through my manager, and I think 50-50 with information, being open with all the other fighters or whatever. But when I'm pulling this up, I just got an email.
Yep.
Where is it? I missed it this morning, or I don't know if it was this morning. Hold on. Where is it? Well, it was like an email from the UFC saying that Dana was going to get on and just kind of like, or he was just going to send us, talk to us about a message and just kind of like give us an update with the whole COVID. And I'm not too sure, probably no like news or whatever, maybe just to kind of just check up on everyone, hopefully, some good news, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. And what are your thoughts on the rumored like mega event, which basically seems to me like UFC 249 extended into to May 9th with like the card looks really stacked, that one.
Dude, that thing looks freaking. I can't. As a fan, I can't wait to freaking see that thing. You know.
Yeah, yeah. No.
But at the same time, it's like I'm seeing people like, man, we just don't know, right? The uncertainty.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have expectations. But at the same time, like if it does happen,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think he should just not tell anyone. And 2 days or 1 day, that's it. It's happening.
Yeah, and just like boom, you know.
That's it. Because what you got to do to buy a pay-per-view is relatively easy, right? You just
Yeah.
go in, log in, and you buy it. People are definitely going to do it. You don't necessarily need to plan it. But I think the UFC is very used to like the promotional period, and that's half the hype as well to sell a fight. But no, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, everyone's stuck at home, man. Everyone's on their phone.
Absolutely, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Awesome, Frank. Well, look, it's always a pleasure to chat to you, mate. Like, I think, as I said, firstly, great energy, great guy. We wish you best in your next sort of fight. And let's keep in touch, mate. It's a big world, but it's a very small world now with technology. I think that's the great thing that I've noticed. Like, we're kind of set up these days to be able to have conversations like this. And it's nice to see the human side of people, much less the fighting side as well.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, man, and thanks for always having me, brother. Hell yeah, I'm super stoked all the time, and you're right, man. Keeping everyone connected somehow, some way, and making the use of social media and technology the best positive way, right?
In a positive way, in a positive manner.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Frank. Thanks for your time. Chat soon.
Yeah, thank you, brother.